two, a 1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome. Hello. Hi, everybody. This is the NIKO show in the flesh. Let me. I was supposed to do this while the song was playing, but I didn't. I'm just loading up the chat boxes here in case anybody decides to stop by, which is much appreciated. So, hi, everybody. This is the NIKO show. We're on episode 12, I believe. Yes, episode 12. I don't know how I didn't remember that since I put the title in. But welcome everybody to the NIKO show, episode 12. Today we got a very special episode that we're gonna do. Very different than what we normally go through. But I decided it'd be fun to do and to see how far we can get and see how long this running time is. So I know I've been saying that I've been doing this 1 hour gaming and news thing, and I've been kind of failing on getting to that hour mark for the past 2 episodes. So I do apologize about that. Just sometimes, like, I try to aim for an hour, and I have all these articles up, and sometimes I just breeze through them too fast, so I'm going to try to take my time a little bit on this one, especially for today. I don't know how long this is going to take. We'll try to get through it as much as we can. I like to I am enjoying what I'm talking about. This is sometimes I think that we've talked about it already on the show, or stuff that doesn't need to have too many things discussed, and that's maybe because I don't pick the right type of articles, but you never know, right? I just like to experiment with stuff like that. But yeah, let's just go through introductions real quick. So usually I like to talk about what games I'm playing, and also if you're hearing that's not good. 1 second. Oh, that's bad. It's really bad. I'm terribly sorry. I'm really, really sorry that my mic was peaking like crazy. So this is actually relevant to what we're going to be talking about. So I've been playing Far Cry 5. Amazing, beautiful, fantastic game in the Far Cry series. This is probably like my second Far Cry game. Believe it or not, my first Far Cry game was Far Cry Primal. But I have played, actually that's a lie. I had Far Cry Instincts Predator, the Xbox version, the console version. And then I did play the original one, just a little bit, just a tiny bit on PC when it first came out. But I never played 2, I never played 3, I never played 4. So why did I decide to get Far Cry 5? Well, because it takes place in America, in Montana, and Hope County, and it looks amazing, and it plays amazing, and religious cults and all that. It's great, but it's a very, very fantastic game. People are saying it's got cowardly storytelling. I don't know what the hell that means, because I don't read I'm not reading the reviews, but when you go under Steam and you click play, you kind of see what articles are saying about the game. You kind of just read a little bit, and then you're just like, ugh, I don't want to read this right now. Like, stop. So it's tempting. So I've seen a little bit. I don't know what they mean by cowardly storytelling, like I said before, but I'll find out once I beat the game. But the game itself, I'm seriously having a freaking blast with this game. This game is so fun. So much fun. It's so spontaneous, so different, so interesting, and it's almost on the level of interest level like Breath of the Wild, like Zelda Breath of the Wild. Okay, I mentioned Zelda Breath of the Wild because there has only been a handful of games in my life that have really, really touched my gamer heart, that made me feel like I'm playing gaming from the beginning, like brand new experience, like it's like I never experienced it before. And I know it's hard to be original in video games these days, of course, but Zelda going Breath of the Wild was like the best thing they could have done, because it was seriously an amazing experience I had. It was always something new and fun and challenging every time I played the game. And that's how it is with Far Cry 5 with its open world mechanics. I always want to do everything in the game. That's important. That is very important. I am so alert and interested. Hey, Scandoris, how you doing, Scandoris? I hope I didn't say that wrong. I apologize. I'm just talking about Far Cry 5 right now, hope you enjoy. So Far Cry 5, like I said, it's so hard to be interested in every little thing you do in a game, like side quests, optional things, just exploring. And Far Cry 5, just like Breath of the Wild for me, had that moment, that mentality. I had that mentality. I wanted to do that. And that was just single player alone. If you do co-op, holy crap, it's like brand new experience and everything. Everything's like so fun and so funny, and oh my god, there's so many priceless moments. I have so many priceless moments of playing with Dayton Does Gaming. And I've been putting the series, I've been wanting to show you guys how crazy the moments are. I've been putting the Far Cry Let's Play series on YouTube, on my channel. So if you guys are ever curious about that, you can just click the YouTube links below and check that out. Episode 2 is going to go up today, but episode 1's already on there. It's just such a fantastic game. I really like the storytelling too so far. I like how like trippy and like really into your psyche type storytelling that Ubisoft does with their Far Cry series. I don't know what Far Cry game doesn't have like hypnotic or drug related stuff happening to you, but there are drugs in Far Cry 5 called Bliss, which makes you get all like tingly and sparkly. Everything looks sparkly, and you just, I don't know. It's crazy, but yeah. I'm enjoying the game very much. Let's see, the game's been out for at least 3 days. I mean, this is day number 3, but so far I've been having time of my life. I haven't lost interest in it at all, and there's so much replay value in it so far, lasting appeal, which is great. You know, that's how you make open world games great at their genre, because you want people to be amazed and surprised and having a reason to come back and not feeling overwhelmed by everything. I mean, there's a perfect balance of a variety of gameplay and quests that you do in Far Cry 5, and I think that's what really matters. Just like Breath of the Wild did the same thing. Games like Skyrim and Witcher 3, they had a plethora of quests, but I think it was definitely way too much when I was playing those games. I don't know how many quests I had that were just like on the side and I just didn't give two craps about it, you know. And that's the problem. You want to do quality over quantity. Quantity over quality is okay in regards to like, hey, I can, you know, it's up to me if I want to not do this or something. I want to have all these different opportunities to make the game better for me, doing this or that. But it's just a waste to me. It's just a waste of space, a waste of dialogue, waste of programming and coding. But see, just because I don't play it doesn't mean other people won't play it either. So, you know, it's just to each his own. But sometimes there is this thing as too much. So it's a perfect, so far, Far Cry 5 has been the perfect balance for me with the quest variety and stuff you do. And it just like, it may get repetitive, but I'm just saying, like, the repetitiveness has to keep on that surprise element, keep heavily on it. And just great gameplay. I mean, the gameplay is great in that game. Holy moly, it plays very well. And the game is very well optimized, very well. I mean, my friend Dayton has a 970 GTX, right? And his what is it called? Bottleneck on his computer is his motherboard. But he's got a 970, which has been out for almost 2 years, or maybe 2.5 years. And he can run the game on max. It's great. I can run the game in max. You can just see this specs below. But yeah, you get the idea. The game is very well optimized for a bunch of computers. They even did an article on all the different graphics cards that could handle the game. Like, there was a lot. It's not like you're playing, I don't know. It's just programmed very well. And I owe Ubisoft a debt of gratitude, because that's amazing that that company is still trying to make good games, you know, and they've been doing it. They've been coming back around. You know, they made the Far Cry series. It's still great. It's still relevant. Assassin's Creed Origins was really good. I mean, like, Rabbids is their thing. I don't know about Plants vs. Zombies. That's EA. I'm sorry. That's EA, not Ubisoft. But yeah, and Ubisoft they've always had like their microtransaction currency in it. It's always been a thing that you spend, I don't know, that you'd spend real money on, but it's not as ridiculous as EA's progressional system, microtransactions, because EA makes it to where they just want the game to be on easy mode. And yeah, I don't give two craps about that. I mean, we see that in Battlefront 2. We've seen that in, Battlefront 2 is a perfect example. Oof. But it's been revamped apparently. But anyway, yeah, I never feel obligated that I have to buy microtransactions in Ubisoft's games or whatever, or spend real money. I haven't done it once in Assassin's Creed or Far Cry or any of their other games. It's great. Not Splinter Cell, nothing. Okay, so yeah, in conclusion, Far Cry 5 is great, and don't forget about the multiplayer arcade aspect. There's a lot of great fan map editor stuff you can do, so that's its own story. It's the NIKO show. Welcome, everybody. Hello, Red Skull. How are you, sir? Good morning. Well, it's morning for me. It's late morning. It's 11:08 a.m. So, as I was saying before, I'm glad introductions are out of the way. As I was saying before, that this one is going to be a special one, because we're going to be talking about And this is going to be good. If you guys stick around, we're going to be talking about all these different games coming up here pretty soon. And I like to hear what you guys have to say about it. So yeah, feel free to chime in anytime you want, expressing what these games meant to you and how you liked it. And like, tell me if you think it's in the right spot or should be higher up or lower. This is why these are exciting. And what am I talking about right now? Well, I got this from IGN.com. You know, cringe, but sometimes IGN has interesting articles. You know, I think I say this almost every time. But it's a good list, and I like looking at these lists because no list is ever going to be perfect or the same as somebody else's. So, what list am I talking about? I will show you right now. And there you go. Top 100 video games of all time. And IGN always does lists like these. I think maybe like once or twice a year where they talk about top RPGs, top games on the N64, but this is top 100 video games of all time. So you can already imagine how this is going to make someone feel once I start reading down the list. So we're going to try to get through this as much as we can, and if we've reached an ending point, because I don't think their list is done yet, but I'm pretty sure we can come up with plenty of things to talk about, especially with me on what I play, because I played a bunch of games as well. And there's still so many that I haven't played, which is great. So, without further ado, let's start with top 100 video games of all time. And like I said, you can see this on IGN.com. No problem, no worries. You do what you can, right? You do what you can. Okay, so I will read their introduction. Coming up with the list of the best video games ever made is not an easy feat. Honestly, the only thing everyone here at IGN loves more than games is the active argument about games. Like I said, folks, we're here. If you want to debate me on what I think is in the proper place or IGN, by all means, let it out. Do it. Which made putting together this list of the top 100 video games of all time such a daunting but ultimately rewarding experience. There's no limit to the amount of games that we love booting up and getting completely immersed in. But that doesn't quite cut it for this list. For this, we had to figure out the best of the best. Which games were so far ahead of their time, so much pure fun, that they stand apart? Since we love games and hate ourselves, we decided to answer this question once and for all. Inside these pages, you'll find our selections for the 100 best video games ever made. The primary criteria we considered when creating this list was simple. How much did this game impact us personally, as well as the industry as a whole when it came out? The criteria meant weighing several instances where a sequel successfully iterated and improved upon the original that broke new ground back when it was originally released. As you can imagine, those discussions were a lot of fun. Games, like all art, are a product of the era in which they were created. So with that in mind, we put less emphasis on whether decades-old games can hold up against the modern AAA giants or greats, and placed more importance on how incredible that gaming experience felt in its own era. After all, which is a greater achievement? A game that breaks significant new ground and feels a decade ahead of its time, or a game that comes out a generation later and finally manages to make some small improvements to the formula? That's big. That's a big deal. Okay, a few other considerations here. Oh God, if you just saw 100, try not to look on the left. Oh God, is there any way I can get rid of this? There we go. I got rid of the left. So yeah, we're not gonna make it the one because one hasn't been made yet. Okay, all video games across all platforms were eligible as long as they were released before December 31st, 2017. We placed no specific emphasis. There you go, I'll highlight it. On different editions or versions of a game if it has appeared on multiple platforms. All entries must be a single video game. Bundles or compilations are not eligible. Sorry, Super Mario All-Stars and Orange Box. Aww. This list was formed from the collective opinions of everyone's on IGN's core content team. Okay. So, by all means, does anybody want to guess what 100 is? I hope you guys didn't see it. If not, you can just guess what 99 was if you didn't spoil it for yourself. I'm sorry, I was supposed to scroll. I forgot you could scroll that down on the left. Okay, I already saw it on accident, but I mean, I guess when I saw it loading up the article already, I was, kind of getting a taste of it, trying to see what was going on. What the fuck was going on here? Oh, sorry, didn't mean to get so ruthless here. Oh, it just got dark in my room. Just got dark in my room. Okay. Anyway. Okay. Anyway. Okay. Anyway. All right. So, let's. Very good, Red Skull Bones. I've never heard of that game, but it's perfect. Okay. At least you said something. Okay. Number 100 is gonna be. Pokemon Go! Pokemon Go is as relevant for what happens outside of the game that what happens in it. A game that can only be played by exploring the world around you. Pokemon Go made its mark by inspiring huge groups to explore together and establish a sense of community that made it an absolute cultural phenomenon. The game itself had a bumpy start, but has fostered an incredibly strong community and seen sweeping changes like raid battles, a dynamic weather system, and more, all of which make it feel like the Pokemon adventure we all wish we could have as kids. On top of pioneering brilliant augmented reality integration and truly making it feel like Pokemon are all around you, this one is a special example of the power of nostalgia when combined with new technology. Which, okay. Alright, so it says something about a bumpy start. Yes, definitely. Bumpy start. I think, okay, what was really great about Pokemon Go is that, I shit you not, I don't know if you guys remember this, but it was an April Fool's joke about, maybe, I think it was in 2015. 2014 or 2015, someone can correct me if I'm wrong. I just remember I was at my university. I was just waiting for a class to start, and I was just looking through my phone, and I found this trailer that says Pokemon. I don't know if it was called Go at the time, but it was like this new Pokemon game coming out that was for your phone, and it was like, hey, you should check this out. This is a new thing, blah blah blah. And I watched it, and it showed basically what Pokemon Go showed in their trailers. It was showing real life environments, real people interacting with Pokemon in RL, right? It was showing all this cool stuff. And it's like, hey, you can finally play Pokemon in real life or something like that. And I was like, what? Like, my mind was blown. And then I come to realize what day it was, and then they said it was an April Fool's joke, and I was like, oh. But what was really, I don't know if this was like their cover-up or the biggest troll of the internet at the time, but a year later, Pokemon Go, that type of format comes out. And I'm like, what? What? It's like, it actually came out. I was just like, what the fuck? Like, it was real. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was, yeah, April Fool's joke. It was, yeah. And that's, but then, like, it came out. It was an actual real thing. Now, I don't know if Nintendo was like, oh shit, someone made a joke about something we're actually working on, or it was just part of this whole, like, grand scheme of things. I don't freaking know. But it came out, and that's all that matters. And, right, it was a cultural phenomenon. It really was. When this game first came out, bless me. How rude. A freaking cat hair. When this game first came out, it was so huge, it pulled a Diablo 3. Nobody could get in through the servers. You couldn't log in. It was like you were getting Air 37, Diablo 3 reference, all over again. And you couldn't get in it for at least a week. You couldn't play it. You had to literally be lucky enough to play, and then you would get kicked out of the server. The overload of this game from the population, from the people that were playing it, were just astounding. I'll never forget it too. I'll never forget it. It was insane when it came out. I mean, holy crap. People were so into this. People are still really into it. But when it first came out, holy crap. Despite it being like very, let's see, not that many features in the game. Is a very base version of the game. And, you couldn't do as many things. Like, it was talking about rating, dynamic weather, and all that, and there definitely wasn't, they didn't have more than 150 Pokemon, which is fine, obviously, because you don't want to overwhelm people right away, right? The OG 150 is always my favorite anyway. But it was just so cool to play it in your hand, and although I was thinking that you would get, like, these types of glasses or augmented glasses you wear or something that, I don't know. They would invent some type of device, right? Like, they have that Pokemon Watch device that kind of helps with the gameplay or something. I was thinking they would have something like that for your eyes, and you'd be able to put it on, you'd be able to like Bluetooth or whatever, and then you would see the Pokemon just like chilling everywhere and stuff, but I think I was going too far with it. But using the phone was also just as good. Make sure you have a good phone because battery does run out. And Red Skull Bones just got a Lugia, so very good, my friend. So let's talk about cultural phenomenon. Red Skull Bones is still playing, which is really great. I'm sure he's still having a ton of fun because the game is getting better and better. And I know Pokemon Go is going to be around for forever. So you can only imagine what they're going to do with it in like 5 years from now or something, how long it's come. But I just remember starting my adventure, which I even did an episode on Pokemon Go. It's on the YouTube channel. You're going to have to go back maybe like about like two years or a year and a half ago. Basically when this game was released. Yeah, I would say close to 2 years ago. And I literally just got up, did my thing, created my character, picked you couldn't pick a starter Pokemon, I remember that. But I just went outside and started doing it. I think it was at nighttime when it came out, then when I finally played it, and I was trying to catch Pokemon and all that. And it was just like so wild. Now, we all know that we all encountered Rattatas and, what was the other? There was like another really common Pokemon you would always run into, but the Rattatas were like so apparent, and it's definitely like a Pokemon troll, I swear. But it was still a ton of fun just to be doing it with your friends, walking around, exercising, having you do what you're supposed to do. I mean, that's how Pokemon Adventure would be. They would just go around and go through the landscape, which is fantastic. But anyway, I was playing it for a while, but then I kind of fell out of it because I think those bumps that we were running into for the game was what threw me out of the game completely, and I got kind of bored of it because it didn't have enough, I guess, lasting appeal for me. Because I wanted to battle trainers, right? Like passing trainers. I wanted to trade Pokemon and all that, and you couldn't do that right away. You can only battle gym leaders and people that took over the gym. But I think now that's a thing. I hope so. But anyway. So that's Pokemon Go. That's 100. The fact that Pokemon Go, that's been out for like 2 years and it's made it at least in the top 100, that's pretty great. For a phone game, I think phone games have come a long way. That's definitely for sure. No longer we shall play Tetris. We play Pokemon Go now. But I'm telling you, I hope they keep building it up. It's great. Okay, so that was 100. Let's go to 99. Okay, did you know some Pokemon Go players have sold their high-level accounts for thousands of dollars on eBay? Whoa! I gotta read these. To curb trespassing, Texas A&M opened its football stadium to players and ended up attracting 1,600 players in 2 hours. The game has helped several local businesses attract growth just by setting up lures and watching potential customers pour in. It's crazy. It's crazy. Also, there was a guy who complained about people going in their backyard, and he had like which is rightfully so because they were trespassing, and he ordered like some type of, or no, I don't know if he was trying to sue Nintendo. I don't remember. Hey, Big Nig Deluxe, I'm sorry that name is yours. I'm just kidding. Welcome, BN. Oh, BN Deluxe. Hi, welcome. This is the NIKO Show. You're in for number 99 on the top 100 list. This is a special episode. So I hope you stick around, friend. Hope to get to know you a little better. We're going to talk about our games that IGN picked for top 100. Technically, I live in this. It was converted from a garage to mother-in-law's suite, so it's got like a bathroom, it's got a kitchen, it's got my drums. My drums are over there. It's got my bed. It's like think of it as one giant bachelor pad. But yeah, it's still got the garage door, so it's pretty epic. To just my front door is my garage door. But it's pretty spacious. It's pretty big. I do rent it with my roommates. So my roommates are thank you. My roommates are in that main house next door, which is literally just a skip away. It's a pretty expensive house, but the garage is big, so we all pitch in to rent, Despite me living in this place, this suite, I call it my keep, I still pay for, because it's all incorporated under the property, obviously. So I pay for the rent as well, But it's a really great place for me and a bunch of friends to hang out in and stuff like that. By friends, I mean my left hand. Just kidding. No. I should have said that. The landlord, it was the one that converted it. Oh no, I dare not convert that. No way, no way. This was already established like that. The fact is that it was a suite before I even got in here. It was already looking like this. Besides with like me adding the furniture and stuff. But yeah, this was already established when I got there. So it's pretty awesome. We're pretty good friends with the landlord and stuff. So thank you. Thank you, landlord. Thank you, friend. Okay, so let's go to number 99. Here we go, guys. Top 100. We only got done with one. Okay, so 100 was Pokemon Go. Now, we've already talked about that. Number 99 is Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII 99. Take that. Sorry. Final Fantasy VII is definitely not my... It's a good game, but definitely not one of my favorite Final Fantasy games. Final Fantasy IX is mine. Okay, so there are a few games I remember playing for the first time as vividly as Final Fantasy VII. After an opening cinematic that absolutely melted my brain, I watched slack-jawed as a soldier, named Cloud and his Avalanche buddies leapt off a train and embarked on their grand adventure through Midgar and beyond. Sure, in retrospect, better RPGs came before it. Chrono Trigger and better RPGs have come after it. Persona 5. But the depth in which Final Fantasy VII resonated with me at the time was unparalleled. Growing up primarily on consoles, remember that, people, Final Fantasy VII showed me just how vast, sprawling, and emotional video game adventures could be. It's a game filled with so many unforgettable firsts, taking off in the high wind, encountering a massive and terrifying weapon, and the heartbreak of losing a key party member permanently. There's a reason why 20 years later, the announcement of Final Fantasy VII Remake absolutely dominated that E3. We're counting the days until we can return to Midgar. Okay, so, Final Fantasy VII. Now, like I said, if you want, you can chime in on what you guys think about it and everything. I like to hear what you guys, if you played it, and if you think it's in an appropriate place, we're here to be discussing that. But we're going to also try to run through this as fast as we can as well. So, I also like to give my own taste on Final Fantasy VII. So, I played Final Fantasy VII probably... When did I actually play that game? Maybe like early 2000s. Like, and I didn't have a PlayStation. I don't play Weeb games. That's perfect. I didn't have a PlayStation for the longest time, like a PlayStation 1 or anything. I had to play Final Fantasy 9 and 7 and 6 and 5. Wow, he just had, my friend in California had them all, back in the day. But I played Final Fantasy 7, and I think I played 7 second. I can't remember if I played 9 first. Maybe I did play 7 first. I can't remember. But I did fairly have a good time with 7. I mean, I got all my characters to level 99. I got Knights of the Round summon. I didn't get Zero Bahamut, sadly. I beat the game. I played it over, and I keep beating the game over and over. I didn't play from the beginning over and over again, because that just takes too long, obviously. But I did fairly have a good time, although I didn't admire the graphics, because the graphics are just piss poor, despite it getting better when you're in fights. But just outside of fights, yeah, the game has not aged well. It's just like geometric blocks. Oh. Oh. Why did you... Red Skullbones, why did you delete his messages? You dare take away his First Amendment? Why did you do that? These are, I mean, is it his name? These are fine. These are fine. Ask me if you want me to time him out. Oh, that's a damn shame. Don't time out anybody in this stream, please. Anyway, so yeah, Final Fantasy VII. It was pretty great game to play, obviously, and then let's just say it was overshadowed when I played Final Fantasy IX. It was pretty, man. Final Fantasy VII, I do remember that. Doing Knights of the Round and then seeing Sephiroth and all that. Yeah, don't. Hey, BN. Sorry about that, man. Yeah, no, he's not being a troll or anything. Anyway, yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Sorry about that, BN. Do apologize. So, Final Fantasy VII, I don't know if you guys felt, I don't know when you guys played it, but yeah, like he was saying, there are better RPGs that came before and then after, obviously. But yeah, 7 did offer a lot of big new things. It was the first 3D Final Fantasy that you got to play on the Sony PlayStation. And it came out probably at the best time it could have ever came out, 1997. I hate power tripping mods. Oh, yeah, I can understand. Yeah, like I said, I do apologize. Aha! But, yeah, 7 was great. Cloud was also a great looking character, although I can't stand his personality, I think, to be completely honest. I mean, this is just fact. The guy is just an emo, sad puppy throughout the whole game who's got an identity crisis. And if you don't believe me, I did a video on YouTube talking about top 9 reasons why Final Fantasy IX is better than Final Fantasy 7, and it goes through like at least 46 minutes in depth talking about why I think that game's better, and it also at the same time talks about why 7 isn't as good as people make it out to be. But still, I still think it's probably one of the strongest Final Fantasy games there was. It's nowhere near as bad as 8. I couldn't stand 8. But anyway, 7, you should definitely. It's definitely one of those games you should play though if you haven't played it at least once. At least give it a shot. You can get it on Steam as well, which is great. So, did you know originally intended to launch on the SNES, then the N64, before finally landing on the original PlayStation? That's kind of crazy. Let's see. Just wanted you guys to see it. Sold 2 million copies within its first 3 days in Japan, which is insane. It was the first Final Fantasy game to have 3D graphics, blood, and swearing. So there you go. There was a lot of new things the game was inventing, that it was experimenting with. So in all honesty, transitioning from 2D to 3D is pretty hard to do, pretty big deal. And the fact that it still did a pretty decent job of doing that, kind of like Mario, like Super Mario 3 to Mario N64, you know, that type of stuff. I think it did pretty well. It did pretty awesome. I do have fond memories of this game, don't get me wrong, but I'd so prefer 9 over 7, but you know. 7, 8, 9. Okay, so let's move on to number 98. I hope everybody's still with me on this one. All fun aside. Okay, so we're gonna move to number 98. It's Galaga. Oh, who remembers using a joystick on an arcade system? Galaga is the closest gaming has ever brought me to Zen. I just sort of fall into a semi-conscious groove, and all the sweeping enemies, formations, bonus stages, stolen fighters, and near-death experiences blend together into a cacophony of frenetic arcade action and then melt away into nirvanic bliss. I played 40-minute games that felt like lasted 5, and once came very near to missing a red-eye flight because I didn't want to walk away from a hot Galaga streak in an airport arcade. You really do have to play Galaga on arcade hardware to get full experience something about the two-way joystick and that big red fire button and the unique teeny music and chip sounds bleeping through the cabinet speakers and the softening effect of the CRT on the colorful pixelated graphics and the slightly rough feel of the control panel under your hands. They all came together to define the experience. Okay, so yes, Galaga is one of those founding father arcade games like Dig Dug, Galaga, Pitfall, one of them, Donkey Kong, Pac-Man, and yeah, Galaga. I mean, look at that, 1981. Oh, you can't see it. It came out in 1991. I didn't mind Galaga too much. Like I said, I didn't even say it, but I only really played it on arcade, which was, you know, how you're supposed to play it. But it was never. I mean, it's probably because it didn't come out, you know. It came out before I was born. I was born in '89, so it was like at the end of basically the '80s and transitioning to like Super Nintendo era and stuff, you know. But I did get a chance to play it, and you know, I wasn't too far ahead, you know, of when it came out, not too much, so it wasn't completely out of date. I mean, the game's still not out of date because I'm sure you can still have a blast playing it. But it was one of those, yeah, one of those founding father arcade games that I'm sure a lot of dads and stuff, or moms or whatever, parents that used to play it all the time and enjoy it with their kids these days too. It definitely invented arcade experience, like truth be told. And I think that's great. Like I said, I've only played a little bit of it. I played more like Pac-Man, to be honest, because I really liked Pac-Man. But, you know, Galaga is good because, you know, who doesn't like sci-fi space game with you killing space monsters and stuff and zapping them and trying to get that high score. I like bullet hell type games. Actually, I don't know. Would you guys consider this a bullet hell type game? I'm not entirely sure. I mean, maybe. But anyway, yeah, Galaga is good. I'm glad, it's good that it was invented, right? It's vintage. I mean, if I had the money, I wouldn't mind putting a Galaga arcade thing in my keep or something, or like, it's always cool. I always had a friend that had like a bunch of arcade systems in his like room or so at one. I can't remember what his name was. This was a while ago, and I have only hung out with this person once. But he had a bunch of arcades systems in his room. He had Galaga, he had Mortal Kombat, he had Turtles in Time. You know, he had Pac-Man. So he had like some pretty big ones. But you get the idea. It's great. It's great. So. And just like NBT73 says, it was the sequel to Namco's Galaxian from 1979. Very good, sir. Very good. Playable as a side game during the loading stage for Tekken on the original PlayStation. That's also freaking, yeah, Namco was, man, they have been around for so long. That's crazy. It makes an appearance in the 2012 film The Avengers on Board S.H.I.E.L.D.'s helicarrier. That's pretty great. Oh, that's right, because the guy was playing it and not working or whatever, and he gets called out on it. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So yeah, we're gonna be hitting a lot of nostalgia juices in this place. A lot of great memories. I mean, we're gonna go all through different periods of time for gaming, and I'm glad you guys are here experiencing that with me. Aha! So that's number 98. Let's move to I'm not a robot. 97. Warcraft 2. Tides of Darkness. Now, I actually think this should have been way higher. Actually, Warcraft 3 was probably been way higher. The greatest trick Blizzard ever pulled was convincing me I was good at real-time strategy games. More than just base building micromanagement, Warcraft 2 Tides of Darkness spun a gripping story on the escalating war between humans and orcs. Regardless of which side you rooted for, Warcraft 2's campaign fell into a perfect groove of pacing that built you up from a... Oh, you're not supposed to see that stuff on the left. Perfect groove built up from a know-nothing strategist, and by the end of the campaign I felt like a supreme commander that was able to match wits with the AI. Each map was more than just a battlefield, it was a puzzle to be deciphered, and the first to explore the foreboding fog of war and use the environment to their advantage would be victorious. Aerial units and naval combat added new strategies to storming the strongholds of your enemies, which made me stop to consider upcoming battles in 3 dimensions. Of course, if that wasn't enough, I never got tired of clicking on units and critters until they either told me to stop poking them or exploded in a brilliant fashion. So yeah, I think Warcraft 2 was probably my first RTS experience ever. It wasn't Command & Conquer, it wasn't Warcraft 3, it wasn't even the original Warcraft, although we did have it on my on the Windows 95 PC that we had. I think it was an IBM computer. I think it was. I can't remember. I think IBM was pretty prevalent when it came to computers during that time when the game came out. But yeah, I mean, this was a big game. I'll never forget how creepy that intro cinematic was of like the orcs invading the castle and killing. I can't remember what the king was, but you World of Warcraft fans or Blizzard fans, let me know. But it was pretty scary, right? Because I was like, let's see, I was born in '89, so I was like 6 years old when this came out, and Blizzard makes some pretty scary games, like especially Diablo 1. But yeah, Warcraft 2 was definitely my first RTS experience, and it definitely wasn't my last, for sure. Yeah, the graphics were pretty good. Way better looking than the first game. The first game was just like, I couldn't even see what I was doing half the time, but that was just called Orcs versus Humans, I think, or Orcs and Humans. But yeah, Warcraft 2 was definitely the start of it all, to be honest, when it finally picked up. It's usually like the sequel, or yeah, it's usually the sequel that really picks up in a game, picks up as a franchise and whatever for people to actually start paying attention. And it's just weird how that works, but it does. It does. And also marketing. You gotta love marketing. Okay, so Warcraft 2 Tides of Darkness was developed in just 10 months. Okay, so just let that sit there for a second. 10 months that went development into this game. Do you guys realize how amazing that is? Because that's pretty damn amazing. Some people spend 5 years, $40 million on a game, and it turns out to be complete shit. Mass Effect Andromeda. Okay, parts of its storyline were retconned in later games. Aw, that's sad. If you click on any non-playable animal enough times, they'll explode, which is great. But yeah, this is what I wish that World of Warcraft would turn into Warcraft 4 eventually. I don't know if that's going to happen, especially because we got Battle of Azeroth, which is like, it's even goes with the same cover as Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 1. With this whole orc versus human thing. and it makes me sad because I really want to see it on RTS mode, like StarCraft 2, you know, Warcraft 3. Warcraft 3 just either gets a remaster or they make a sequel to it. It's just like the perfect time to do it. They can easily do it after Battle for Azeroth because it's very relevant to what Warcraft RTS is all about. But anyway, yeah, that's Warcraft 2 Tides of Darkness. Thank you, number 97. Thank you, thank you. All right, next one. Whew, this is great. Number 96, Star Wars TIE Fighter. This is a game I never played. I played the original one. I played the X-Wing one. Building on the memorably excellent space combat mechanics of Star Wars X-Wing, totally game Star Wars TIE Fighter gave us our first real taste of the dark side, and we liked it. Of course you did. Sitting in the seat of an hey, there's Admiral Thrawn, and Imperial Starfighter, and hearing the signature scream of the twin ion engines and deadly squawking of green blasters makes the story of fighting to keep Empress Palpatine in power seem like a great idea. Yeah, and also if you're in those, like I played the original X-Wing, and when you actually get into the arcade like cockpit system, it's pretty badass. It's pretty cool. And that's with like any type of like playing game or flight simulator game that you play in arcades. They always go big and beyond in it, which is really cool that you get to kind of be immersed in that. And like I played space games or playing games where you're like tilting like 45 degrees one way or another, or going not going upside down, which would be really funny if you could do. But Star Wars X-Wing was like that. But I can only imagine that people liked TIE Fighter so much because, you know, it expanded, right? It made it a little better. Kind of gave you something that doesn't normally happen. You never really play the bad guy in video games, you know, and it's great to see it in an arcade version. It came out in 94. 94. It's kind of nuts to think about. I don't know when X-Wing came out, but that's pretty nuts, Zoid. If you think about it, it's pretty nuts. But yeah, it's, I mean, I love Star Wars games. I mean, I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt right now because I'm a pleb. So that's, what a coincidence. So let's see what they have for Did You Know? Did you know tunes like the Imperial March were turned into heroic motifs on the soundtrack to match the player's role as the Imperial TIE Fighter? That's pretty cool. It was one of the first Star Wars games framed from the perspective of the Empire, where the players must fight against the Rebel Alliance. So that's what I was talking about before. It takes place after the Empire's victory in the Battle of Hoth and leads directly into the events of Return of the Jedi. So that's pretty cool that they always have a bunch of tie-ins from Empire Strikes Back to Return of the Jedi, especially Shadows of the Empire. And then, okay, so that's enough Star Wars for today. Number 97. Oh my god. Damn it, every time. The Oregon Trail. Wait, did I say 97? I mean, number 95. Good lord. The Oregon Trail, released in 1971. Good god. For many fledgling gamers, the hardest choice you ever had to make was whether to ford the river or float your wagon across. But either way would inevitably be the wrong one. The Oregon Trail was the first exposure to PC games many people had. Played in childhood classrooms for decades and infecting generation after generation with a fascination for video games. It tricked both teachers into letting us play video games in the middle of class and kids into doing something vaguely educational. Yeah, like yellow fever and dysentery. Though I'm not sure learning about dysentery really came in handy at age 8. But it inspired games as a whole as well and continues to do so with this day, or to this day. Games like 80 Days or the cleverly named Oregon Trail are clearly riffs on the Oregon Trail choose your own adventure, branching paths style, but the idea of making meaningful and often risky choices on a one-way journey that tells a story you get to shape can be felt in so many different games. The Oregon Trail didn't invent this structure, but it's hard to fully appreciate the influence it had on so many games and gamers that came after it. Yeah, it's probably one of the most RPG games ever made. I mean, if you take away like the stats and stuff, like leveling up and all that, but it's pretty close to like what D&D games would do or text-based games would do. If you remember, I don't know if anybody's remember playing Lord. That was why does it keep doing this? Stupid. Because I keep scrolling down. Lord was one of those games that was it was a text-based game that was like, I don't know, it wasn't in the realm of D&D, but it was pretty close to it. But that was like my old ass game that I played. That was my game that I played back in the day on like that was like an old concept of ideas, like those text-based games. They were really fun. But I never got a chance to play Oregon Trail. I actually don't think I ever played it in school. I was playing other like educational type games. They were more like cartoony and like more present. I wish I did though. And I mean, I'm sure you can play Oregon Trail on your phone, can't you? I'm pretty sure it's on there, or like there's like I don't know. Did they remake it ever? I'm not entirely sure. But I'm sure there's many versions of it, no doubt, in order to keep up with the times or something like that. Keep with the compatibility of devices. But yeah, the Oregon Trail was definitely a game that would educate you, and on your, especially in history class, and to let you get an idea of how intense and crazy life was back in the day, especially for the Oregon Trail. Which makes me wonder, you guys don't even understand, really. You just don't. No, I'm just kidding. But like, just imagine. Okay, so the Oregon Trail was this group of settlers, this group of people trying to get basically to Oregon, or whatever, however we want to call it. So they had all this cattle, all these wagons and stuff, and then Lewis and Clark was just two people, and they were just walking. They were literally just walking. Were they? What was it, from Missouri to California? I can't remember exactly, but just imagine how hard life was for them. And so they survived, and there was just two of them. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, history buffs. I don't know if they like got a group of adventurers along the way, or if they started with a bunch of people and ended with just them two. But like I said, you never hear about that in history books. You just hear Lewis and Clark, yeah, that was good, and then you do hear about the Oregon Trail. But it's crazy to actually play it and see how intense it could be and how crazy it could be. I mean, my friend Dayton Does Gaming did a Let's Play on it maybe half a year ago, and he still had a good time playing it. And I was one of the characters in him. I died from yellow fever, so yeah, it was pretty crazy. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. These are games that'll probably never die out ever. They will always be something to look upon as in terms of on a history level, educational level, and then gaming level. Did you know, created as part of an 8th grade classroom lesson in 1971. So there you go. It's already designed to be educational. The flagship product of the iconic 80s educational developer, Mech, appeared for over 40 years across platforms from mainframes to phones, but reached its definitive edition in 1985 on the Apple II. Holy shit. That is crazy. That's freaking crazy. Okay, so that is number 95. Let's go to number 94. Oh, look at this. Monkey Island 2, LeChuck's Revenge. So we got about 8 more minutes left. We'll try to get through maybe a couple more. When Monkey Island 2 came out, we knew who Guy Brush Threepwood was, so we knew what to expect. Or so we thought. Somehow, creator Ron Gilbert threw everyone for a loop, ending Monkey Island 2 in a carnival, leaving us to wonder if everything we played in the first 2 games took place in a boy's imagination, or if the ending itself was simply another LeChuck voodoo spell. Regardless, the story, jokes, and pacing were all tightened up for the second Monkey Island, making it arguably the best of the incredible run of LucasArts adventure games. Now, this is another game I never got a chance to play growing up. I did play some Click Adventure. I can't remember if this was a Click Adventure. But yeah, it was another game I never really got a chance to play. And I do like pirate stuff, right? So I should play it. It's definitely a game that a lot of people grew up with, right? There's no doubt on everybody's computer at one point. But it's I'm sure people that have played it probably had a really good time with it. So that's good enough for me. Did you know creator Ron Gilbert has never revealed to anyone what the secret of Monkey Island actually is? The ambiance was heavily inspired by the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland. Oh, of course. The Amiga community dubbed it Disc Juggling Simulator thanks to the 11 floppy disks it had to be played across. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. 11 discs? Good God. That is ridiculous. Floppies too. Don't forget that. Oh my God. Okay, number 94 is done. Let's go to 93. That son of a... Burnout 3 Takedown, released 2004. Hey, I'm sure we got some Burnout fans here. While it may not be as old as Super Mario Kart or Road Rash, when it comes to arcade racers, Burnout 3 Takedown is an undeniable classic. I must have logged in 60 hours in this game, and that was well before the days where I get paid to do that. I defy you to bring up arcade racers and not have someone mention Burnout 3. Its predecessor, Point of Impact, has fine-tuned the balance of high-speed racing and vehicular destruction, but Takedown perfected it. Huh. This is one of those games you could easily lose hours playing either alone or with friends. Among our nerdy cadre, there was no greater source of joy, sorrow, or white-hot rage than Burnout 3. Few things could ruin a friendship faster than wrecking someone's ride just before the finish line, though thankfully all was usually forgotten during the next round of crash mode. And yeah, I mean, who doesn't like playing a game where you get points for messing up your car, your beautiful, beautiful car? Usually people take points away in like racing games like NASCAR or like Forza or anything like that for destroying your car. But yeah, this is a game that rewarded you for carnage and trying to cause the most havoc. And that's why people can enjoy that, because it's like, well, you don't want to do it in real life and then die in the process, so let's do it in this game. And very good. I just remember playing a couple demos of Burnout. I never owned a Burnout game in my life, but I did give it a shot. Barely scratched the surface of it, but I know where people are coming from when they really enjoyed this game. Yeah, I think Burnout Revenge was one of those games that a lot of people like. A lot. But it's great that there are many different ways to enjoy this franchise. It seems like a lot of the games in the series are good. And EA is doing a remastered version of Burnout 1, I think. One of those, correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, there's a remastered version of it coming out. So that's also good for Burnout fans. Let's see. Let's just say my racing game that I spent a lot of time in growing up was Rally Sport for the Dreamcast. If anybody remembers that. Rally Sport Challenge or something like that. It was amazing. And you can use your own soundtracks in the game, which was also great. Remember when you could put video game music, your own music in a video game? Remember that? Remember that, guys? Remember how awesome that was? Remember how cool that was? Like, just real quick. I'm not talking about like the 360 where you can play it in the background, which was also really cool, which, you know, I don't know if you can do that anymore on the Xbox One. But these games back in the day, like Dreamcast, was it Dreamcast? No, it was on the first Xbox, I think. I can't remember, but there was a Rally Sport that we had to where I think it was the first Xbox. You could put your own music in it, which was really, really cool. Like, it was like programmed into the game, and that was so fun. I think we were playing like Rammstein or like Mortal Kombat music. Okay, so yeah, on the first PlayStation. I mean, even on the first PlayStation, you can put your own music on there. That's awesome. That's freaking awesome. So you can only imagine how people were happy about that. But yeah, the first Xbox was great because they let you, especially when you were playing, it was ESPN 2K5, you could put your own music in it as well, make your own soundtrack and all that, which was also awesome. I wish that game was backwards compatible because it's probably the only sports game I would go back and play. But anyway, yeah, Rally Sport was like that, and I'm glad Burnout did that as well. That's really cool. Wait, yeah, I think you can do that, maybe. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, it's really exciting. I mean, obviously, you want good music when you're crashing through towns and stuff. Don't get me wrong. All right, so oh, cool. On the first PlayStation, you could take the game disc out and put whatever music album in it and still play. What? Oh, that's really neat. Interesting. That's really crazy. I never knew that. That's like a life hack. That's amazing. Holy crap. I appreciate you. I'm going to be experimenting with that whenever I play on the first PlayStation. Although I do play like backwards compatible on the PS2 or something if I ever play retro games. But still, that's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, so last one we'll get through. We almost made it through past 10, but you know, we're just having a good time. Okay, let's see. Takedown. Yeah, so that was 93. Let's go to 92, the one last time. Okay, every time I scroll down to a new one, it shows that, so I just have to do it. Fallout 2, number 92. Starting the journey of Fallout 2 as a tribesman was nothing more than a loincloth and a spear to my name, and gradually fighting my way up to a power-armored, Gauss-gunning, killing machine, and it is a fantastic and surprisingly natural feeling of progression. One that few games have been able to match, exploring a vast and open apocalyptic world full of deadly raiders, super mutants, and deathclaws is daunting but exciting. And thanks to attention to detail, atmospheric music, powerfully written, morally ambiguous quests, and voice-acted interactions with key characters, the world feels personal and vivid enough, even though we view it from a distant third-person camera. Yeah, this game is it's definitely a staple in RPGs. and it wasn't made by Bethesda either. The only people, or ZeniMax or whatever, Todd Howard basically. This is definitely made by a different company originally. I can't. What was the company? If anybody remembers the company, please chime in with it. I can't remember. But this was like, let's see, 1998. This is during the time when Baldur's Gate was a big deal. When obviously Fallout, isometric RPGs were huge around this time. Huge. I mainly played Baldur's Gate majority of the time. Fallout, I never got into Fallout until Fallout 3 when it came out like a gazillion years later. Holy crap, I just realized that Fallout 2 was released in 98 and Fallout 3 came out like, what, 2007 or something? Or 2006? 2007, I think. Holy crap, that's crazy. That's a lot of time in between. But one thing I didn't like about Fallout, I think 4, I thought 4 had pretty good graphics, but I think maybe it was too cartoony looking in a way. I'm not trying to go off the rail here, but I didn't like the way I don't know, I just thought Fallout 4 and 3 were just ugly games. They're just like, just seeing like ruined buildings and just a bunch of dirt and brown and insects and monsters around just didn't seem that appetizing to me. You know, I think it was just the way their graphics engine was, the way the aesthetics look, and I just didn't find any like appeal to it. I'm a big person when it comes to aesthetics, but this, from the looks of it, Fallout 2 looks to have a more of an artistic design because obviously it's hand. I mean, they're all hand drawn to be honest, but this was different, right? In terms of its aesthetics, it had a grittier look, but it still has some flair to it. It's an isometric or third-person camera, you know, isometric, and you pay attention to detail, right? It's some great detail. You can see it in clarity a lot better than like you could in 3 and 4, but you know. That's my opinion, right? Like you could say 4 is the best looking one because it's, you know, it's the newest one. But just the graphics engine, you know, it's a big difference. It's a big deal. And graphics, I mean, it's like going from Diablo 2 to 3. Diablo 2 was gritty as hell looking, big time. And then when you go to 3, it's like more cartoony looking and more like, I don't know, polygonal, less pixel. But yeah, you can get the idea, the comparison. But yeah, these games are not easy, obviously. Also, there's Shadowfall. That's another big isometric role-playing game, and then you've got XCOM. But these games are really, really hard, really difficult. They require you to take your time and pick decisions carefully, and you're definitely rewarded with pain and reward, or pain and suffering. So you definitely have to be careful. This is why Pillars of Eternity, one of the best role-playing games I've ever played by Obsidian, which the second one's coming out soon. But yeah, you definitely, this is definitely a game you should definitely play once in a while. And then there's Wasteland. That was another one that kind of was similar to Fallout, which was probably the same creators that made the original Fallout. I think something about that. But yeah, Fallout 2 is one of those games you should at least try out once. You can definitely get it super cheap on Steam. I'm sure it's like only $1 or whatever. You can find it super discounted. But let's see. Okay, so yeah, that's number 92. I'm sad we couldn't get through 2 more, but that's okay. Maybe we'll do this next time. We'll add it to like the end. We'll just add it in to the next one. But this was fun. I'm glad I got to do this. Okay. So, I will show you guys real quick what 91 and 90 are, so we can just start from 89 next time whenever we do this. So, we will show that. So, Undertale is number 91, released 2015, that's a big RPG. And then League of Legends is number 90, so there you go. So, those 91 is Undertale, number 90 is League of Legends. So, there you have it. Well, folks, we got through 10 of the top 100, which, holy crap, there was a lot of discussion in there, which was amazing and fun, thanks to the people that chimed in. Since you're going soon, and not to go backwards, but I know one of the games that you could have swapped with Music CD on the PS1 is Ridge Racer! Yes! Ridge Racer! I had that game. I had Ridge Racer, I think. It sounds so familiar. I swear I had that game. I swear, I'm not lying. You're not going to call me a liar, are you? No, but Ridge Racer was one of those games I had as well, and that's awesome. Like it's crazy. I never knew you could do that though. I never knew you could do that. They made a lot of Ridge Racers, I think. But thank you very much. That is a great tidbit because look at that. Thanks to him, I learned something new, and that's always what I want to do whenever I'm doing any type of forms of entertainment. But anyway, folks, this has been the NIKO Show, episode 12 for the top 100 video games. We got through at least 10, which is not that bad because, I mean, you do expect a lot of discussion about it. And that's why I wanted to do this. It's a little different. Usually, just before you guys go real quick, usually the platform is we read from a bunch of articles and we go through topics and stuff like that. But I wanted to do something a little different this time around because, you know, it caught my attention. I think it definitely would have gone beyond time. We could be here all night, by the way. So the next time I will be doing the NIKO Show will be this weekend on either Saturday or Sunday. There is no particular time, just because I never really have a set schedule for these because my days off are so different every week from where I work at. But I will be posting updates on Twitter or on the Twitch channel. So yeah, just if you want to check that out, you can always check out my status updates. So thank you everyone for stopping by. If you liked what you saw, please follow the NikoTheLegend Twitch channel and check out my YouTube channel as well, so you can further help me out in my endeavors to becoming the most kawaii desu gamer of them all. And I hope you had a good time. If not, I at least am glad to have your attention. So thanks again, folks. Have a safe day. Play your favorite games. Good luck. And play Far Cry 5. We talked about it in the introduction. That was a ton of fun. So thanks for stopping by, everybody. Take care. And thank you so much, NBT73, for following. Woo, 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 woo.